During a bank robbery, you're surprised when the criminals seem to recognize you and retreat in fear. Only later do you learn that your high school sweetheart now runs a global crime syndicate and has you placed on a no-harm list. You decide to pay them a visit after all these years. The one day I need the ATM to work without issues is the one day the damn thing ate my card. Having to go inside the bank and talk to the teller is always the worst when you have to say the machine ate my card. The bank is a small building on the corner, and it's usually pretty empty. I thought I got lucky with having only one little old lady queued in front of me. That was until I saw her handful of paperwork while she gave a stare of pure death at the teller serving another man. Only one booth was open, and I was expecting a long wait. As the old lady walked up to the counter, 3 masked men burst through the glass doors. I turned to see them all holding weapons. 1 shotgun and 2 small submachine guns. Instinctively, I threw my hands in the air in sheer terror. "Every single one of you FS get on the ground. Now," shouted the man holding the shotgun while the other 2 men straight out darted for the teller's booth. I hit the floor harder than I did, falling off my bike in grade school. My eyes are closed, my cheeks feel the cold marble, and I'm just praying they don't ask me for my wallet because it's emp. "Oi! Maggot! Give me your effing wallet before I put a hole in your effing chest," he shouts as I hear him cock the shotgun. Fuck. Fuck. I reach slowly around to my back pocket and begin pulling out my wallet as demanded. Before I could hand it forward to give to the crook, he snatches it out of my hand and opens it. He's pulling everything out, from my Medicare card to my royalties cards and library card. I hear something hit the ground, and I jump. It was heavy from the sounds of it. I was too scared to open my eyes because the guy pointed his shotgun at me. Then I hear him muttering, "OF, OF, OF, OF," over and over and over. He just keeps muttering to himself. "We're effing dead. She'll effing shoot us if she finds out we did this," he says to himself softly. He suddenly drops everything and puts an opaque cloth bag over my face, and I hear him backing up. "Roger, Shane, we need to leave. Now," he says with a quickened panic in his voice. "Like F we do. This stupid cunt is opening the safe. Why are you acting like you have a gun to your head? Stop backing up, find your balls, grab that shotgun, and help us out, you dipcrap," shouts one of the crooks behind the counter. "No, you don't effing get it. We need to go. Now," he shouts more adamantly. "Forget the effing money, drop your effing gun, and run like it's your last effing breath, because if Taylor finds out what we did to a bank that Alan Jeffries was in at the time, we'll all be wearing a pair of concrete shoes in the river before the 6 o'clock news." His voice is quickened as I open my eyes to my wallet, now closed and in front of me with all my cards nearly piled up on top of each other. "Bullcrap. This can't be that Alan Jeffries. Not a hope in hell," shouts one of the crooks behind the counter, as he hurls himself back over and grabs my wallet and cards. I shut my eyes again. Suddenly, there's another loud thud, this time right near my head. "Shane. Get a effing move on now. We're leaving. Leave everything here. Fucking run," shouts the crook next to me as I open my eyes again to see my wallet in front of me yet again, with a submachine gun sitting next to it. I look up and can clearly see what the crook is wearing. A black ski mask and blue overalls. I can smell piss, and as I focus more, it's coming from the man that was just next to me, the one who picked up my wallet and scanned my cards and IDs. He backed away from me with his hands up. "We're extremely sorry, Mr. Jeffries. We meant you no harm. Please, if you would be so kind as to not report this to Miss T, we'd be in your debt for life," says the first crook, now standing at the door with his hands up, facing me. I lift my head up more, and the crook who was next to me now has a visibly large wet spot around his crouch and down to the inner parts of his pants. He continues to back away towards the door. Did he? Yeah, he pissed himself all right. A quick scan of my surroundings. When I get my bearings and face the crooks, the last one remaining leaps back over the counter bare-handed and sprints for the door. "Fucking run. Move it. Get the F out of here now," he shouts as he pushes through the first 2 crooks, who take the hit and turn and sprint out the door themselves. What just happened? The few people that were in the bank were staring at me. The old lady appeared to have had her life flash before her eyes. She was pale and she had this expression on her face as if she'd seen something long forgotten. The teller still had his hands up and gawking at me as well. The female teller came out from the back room with her hands still in the air, confused that the supposed bank robbers were gone. What the F just happened? After a few minutes, the police arrive and secure the area. They begin interviewing people and looking at the camera footage to confirm what happened. I told the officer interviewing me every detail I could bring myself to recall. I then asked him who Miss Taylor was. Queen of the underworld. No man, woman, or in between has the strength to stand up to her. She's referred to as the Spider Queen. Nobody knows who she is or how she got her name, but every criminal in any sort of criminal network knows her, and the second you ask about her, everyone goes silent. People have admitted to crimes, but we have no proof they've actually committed. They choose to get caught rather than speak a single word about her. No, it can't be. That can't be true. Miss Taylor, it's a name I remember well. I went out with a girl called Taylor in high school, and she was a massive spider fanatic. She loved them more than her own family and owned a king baboon tarantula, an arachnid that was imported from Africa. There is no possible way that she's the Miss Taylor the policeman's describing. A woman I lovingly, and also amusingly called my little Spider Queen because she was 5 feet 8 inches. No. No. Do you know why these crims just turned tail and ran from you? We dug a little bit into your name on the way here and all we can find is reference to a no-harm list. What this list is, we have no idea. But we do know that's some tightly kept secret. And we sure as hell hope that doesn't mean you're involved with them, the sergeant asked, putting his pen and notepad down. Before I could even reply, another police officer arrived and came over to us. This one was wearing what looked to be a more military-based uniform. Kind of like those official ones you see on TV. Sergeant Peters? I'm Commander Alex Kepler. I'm here on orders from Commissioner Davis to take Mr. Jeffries into protective custody as of this moment, he says while he holds out an enclosed envelope stamped, Spider. Mr. Jeffries, do you have all your belongings with you? Asks the commander. He stretches his arm out for a handshake. I do, thanks. Can you tell me what's going on? I ask, responding in kind to his gesture. He guides me towards the door without saying a word. As we exit the bank, we walk towards a single black car, its windows tinted as dark as the night sky. You couldn't see through it even if you used halogen lights. The commander opens the door and tells me to get inside it. Once seated, I'm greeted by a man in a suit, black aviator sunglasses, and an earpiece. He turned to me, and I knew I was being digitally scanned. Or at least, it felt like he was eyeing me from behind his. Please enter the vehicle, Mr. Jeffries, says the commander. I look at him to see him sweating slightly. I nod, sit down in the car, and the door closes. Without a chance to even strap my seatbelt on, the car takes off, and I slide along the leather seat and bump into the man I want to call the Terminator. I pretended that wasn't embarrassing and moved over to my spot. What's going on? Who are you? I ask, frantically stretching the seatbelt over me. Miss Taylor wishes to speak to you, Mr. Jeffries. It would be rude to ignore her requests, he responds. The way he said it was like him telling me I had no choice. Who is this Miss Taylor, and what the FK is going on? That's not the Taylor I think it is it? Taylor H. It is best you keep quiet until we arrive, Mr. Jeffries cutting me off in a different tone this time. I could already tell that was a don't you say anything else, you dumbass code. I kept getting flashbacks about the girl I went out with in high school. She was a klutz, but cute. Nothing said fun more than the smile on her face whenever she was excited. There was nothing in this world that fazed her. That smile, though. Her face was as smooth as a model's and lips as crisp and ripe as cherries. I remember just staring at her for hours when we first got together for coffee and just listening to her go on about her pet spider, Frank. I could tell you every little detail she ever mentioned about that spider solely because the enthusiasm about it was so genuine and pure, that every time she spoke, her words would just sink in and ingrain into your memory about it. I remember her silky black hair. She would spend hours after her shower, making sure her hair would remain straight for the next day. Conditioner, followed by a thorough wash, followed by a cold rinse, and then finished with her straightening it and tying it into a natural bun with no hair ties before bed. When she woke up in the morning, she would tug on a bit of hair in her bun, and it would perfectly fall apart and fall down to her shoulders. Without a doubt, it still looked perfect just like she had just washed it. It was so good to watch in the morning. We fell out of touch after we broke up after graduating high school. I was still living with my parents and without a job, so when they moved to the countryside, I was forced to go with them. We both agreed that if we were ever to move back to the city, we would get together for coffee and catch up. Last I heard, she moved to America to pursue a business career a little more than 11 years ago. Without warning, the car had stopped up outside a large warehouse at the docks just outside the central business district. I started to shake a little bit out of fear and accidentally turned my gaze towards the Terminator. He looked at me blankly, and gave a nod that pointed to door. I nod back softly, it was really more of a head flinch, and as I reach for the handle, the door is pulled open before me. Mr. Jeffries, this way please, said a man standing by the door.